So I just played or showed the Juntu game here, a game with Juntu, and there's Clan Bariyar here. So this is also, the last match was insanely intense, and this one it felt to me equally intense, if not the same. So good decks and probe. I'm like, okay, so I mean that narrows down the number of decks it could be. Grixis Delver or Ad Nauseum, something of the sort. But I like this hand because I've got Bell, Ruins, Glimmer Void, Land. I can needle stuff, and I can self-mill like crazy to draw into Bridge, Lantern, etc. So I see that, I'm thinking, okay, Grixis Delver, but there's still a chance of Ad Nauseum. I keep the Gold Caller's Bell up, just in case. I see the Pentam Prism, I'm like, okay, so it's gotta be Ad Nauseum, right? It is not, though. Lantern. Still, I did not know what I thought. Okay, it's still Ad Nauseum. Until I Bring to Light, I was like, oh crap! And they get an Urban Evolution. I couldn't control those draws, so I just let them happen and wished for the best. Go ahead and take a look, and then I saw that Through the Breach. I was like, oh, that's what I'm playing. I'm playing against Through the Breach. So, I'm good. My needles aren't doing much right now, so I decided to use them on fetch lands. There's not enough lightning bolts in my opponent's deck to kill me, so I'm okay with that. Go ahead and try to solidify the lock some more with Gold Caller's Bell. I know my opponent has Through the Breach, I just have to make sure that it doesn't get the creatures to put into play. And I will be okay. And once I hit a bridge, I'm good. And I'm digging for it, but not doing much, so I go ahead and further try to lock off my opponent's fetch lands. Make sure there's no end-of-turn fetch land shenanigans. There's a bridge. No, I know I'm not going to mill my opponent out. He's playing Emrakul, and he's also playing the World Spine Worm. So, milling is not going to happen. So I just have to make sure my opponent doesn't draw the cards he or she needs to do anything super good. Yeah, he just does that to get Emrakul out, I guess. And he could have just drawn and discarded Emrakul, but whichever. So now I know I'm going to lose if I don't start doing some crazy stuff to try to burn my opponent out. So now I need Spell Bomb, which is now on top. So I'm good to go. I'm very happy that I have Spell Bomb in this deck, I'll tell you what. And my opponent actually makes me play out a large portion of it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I end up winning. I guess that's weird. It says I won, but I guess it doesn't show my opponent conceding or whatever. But yeah, so game 2. I cited in some random, like a Sailor Primordium and Ancient Grudge to take out those little artifact things, the Pentam Prisms, but I wasn't sure what all to side out. I love this hand. Duress, Inquisition, and Surgical. That alone could shut down my opponent's deck, and then Ensnaring Bridge makes it even better. My opponent does have a Thoughtseize, though, which is unfortunate. It gets rid of my Surgical. But in comes Noxious Survival. I see that Slaughter Games. My opponent has 2 Slaughter Games in hand. So I go ahead and Duress, and then Surgical Extraction to Slaughter Games while I still can. And if you look at this, my opponent has 4 Ancient Grudge. 4 Ancient Grudge in this deck. Holy crap balls, man. So I might as well play the Shredder now. And I know it seems silly, but I do mill because I'm hoping my opponent will try to flashback grudges. Because if my opponent naturally draws them, then they've essentially got 2 grudges. If I mill them and my opponent tries to flash them back, that's halves the number of grudges I have to worry about. I don't really have a good target for decay, so I go ahead and use it on that prism. I mean, really, I realize at this point that I should have, that I wish I had sighted in the Grafdigger's cages and sighted out decays. So there was that. I'm paying attention to what my opponent's doing here, putting cards on the bottom. So there's a lantern. There's a grudge. My opponent does have grudge, it turns out. I mean, there's 4 in the deck, so I guess it's likely an opponent's going to do it. So now my opponent is flashing back the grudges. That's 1 less grudge I have to worry about. You know, there's the stirrings. There's a grudge on top, though. So I Ghost Quarter. Opponent doesn't, you know, look. So still gets the grudge. Okay, well that sucks. My opponent does know I have Noxious Revival. So I hold up the stirrings, go get Academy Ruins, you know, because now I can try to get stuff back from my graveyard. I just need a blue mana to do it. I mean, my opponent obviously does not have the Through the Breach and Emrakul going on yet. So he's got Emrakul, I know that. If I'm not mistaken, he's got 3 Emrakuls in hand now. So I'm racing to his 15 mana through the breach or whatever. Now this is where MTGO annoys the crap out of me. So there's Through the Breach on top, right? I try to dig for, you know, something I get that Welding Jar, or Opal rather, so I can get the blue mana for Ruins. So all I gotta do is keep my opponent off that Through the Breach, right? Well, the Opal doesn't work because he cuts me off from Metalcraft. But so I shuffle. Through the Breach is on top. What the crap? I still have to get rid of Through the Breach, so I shuffle him again. On top of that, my opponent uses Mr. Reinforce, and what does he draw? Freaking, well, you know, I didn't notice that. So yeah, he draws Bring to Light and Through the Breach. So yeah, that sucked. So I just wouldn't concede at this point. Game 3. So now I know 4 Ancient Grudges. I side in my Grafdigger's cages and I side out my Abrupt Decays and all that crap. I go for it because I do have Bridge, and I have to land Bridge before my opponent gets a Through the Breach going on. Same thing, I'm still milling my opponent's grudges because I want my opponent to flash him back. So there's a Relic. And I go ahead and put Spellskite on top. So I put Spellskite on top so I can try to force my opponent to grudge now, which he does. And Spellskite comes out. Another Relic. And play Lantern. Another Relic. So there's a Needle on top, so I can try to shut off relics, but really it's a little bit too little too late. So there's a grudge on top. I wait for my opponent to try to draw before I... So I try to Needle, forcing my opponent to do relics, both relics. So opponent does get to draw a grudge there. My opponent, I think, should have sacked that Misty before drawing from that other one, because then he would have drawn yet another grudge, but... So yeah, try to shuffle away that grudge. My opponent kills my Bell. Bring to Light for Ancient Grudge. Crap, man. Which is good. You know, he's using them on crap targets, so that's okay. Bring to Light. I'm like, oh crap. For Slaughter Games, naming Pyrite Spellbomb. So there's one of the 3 win conditions, and really the mill is not going to be a viable win condition. You notice our time now is getting really low. Okay, welding jar, so I'm getting better. I just, Spellskite, slided those back in. Comes up through the breach. I'm like, ah, crap. Now here I mess up also. I sack this. Just notice, now my opponent can Ancient Grudge away my artifacts, and I'm going to lose both Glimmer Voids now. So it drops him down to 1 land. So I've got a clock now. I have to get Bridge online using 1 land. But I play every permanent I draw, because in case, you know, I can try to build up to 6. Fortunately, I've sided in enough stuff that I can still try to get there. So there's ruins. So now I can try to reassemble the lock. Opponents cantripping like crazy. Lantern on top so I can get a feel for what I'm looking at. So opponent has used 3 grudges now, right? Has 1 left in the library. I can't risk letting my opponent get that Emrakul in case he's got Through the Breach. So, building up my lock some more. I hold on to that Stirrings because that Surgical is going to be great. And my opponent knows it, so he slaughter gains my Surgicals. So there's Bridge, so now I'm okay with him drawing stuff. We're really close on time. And I know my only chance of winning is my opponent plays slower than me, or Ethergrid. There's an Ethergrid on top. And notice I did not play the Stirrings because I wanted to draw Ethergrid. If I would have Stirrings and Ethergrid would have been there, I would have lost. Getting really close on time, but I have enough artifacts that once my opponent passes the turn, I win. So now the opponent is stuck, has to try to draw something. I go ahead and start dealing damage and win. So good thing I have both Ethergrid and Spellbomb as secondary win conditions in this deck, and ends up saving me. But holy crap, that was a close game. Look at that time, 13 seconds, 12 seconds. I'm at 5 life. That was insane. It was a good match.